Hi there, I'm Nergish Wadia-Austin, and I'm a business management trainer and consultant within the hair, beauty, barbering, nails, spa, and wellness sectors of our industry. I travel around the world basically helping businesses by training their managers in various leadership skills, training professionals in how to run their columns as a business. Those are my specialities. But I am also now involved in running bespoke webinars for businesses. So today's conversation is with Alison Jameson and members of her team, but I'll get to them in a moment. Alison Jameson is the founder and the leader of AJC. It's a PR company for hair and beauty businesses of all sizes in our industry. And they are not just a PR business, but they're actually brand architects as well. Alison is being joined today by Lauren Grieve and Kelly Jones. Lauren Grieve is an associate director at AJC, and she specializes in social media and digital marketing, among a variety of things. And Kelly Jones is a graphic designer at AJC, and she deals with helping businesses put together their brand identity. So, for example, designing things like their websites, their logos. She also works with the high-profile professionals in our industry. Of course, there are other members of their team, but these are the three that are joining me this morning. So I'd like to say, hello, Alison, Lauren, and Kelly.
Morning, Kelly.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi there. So, Alison, why don't we jump into this conversation now? And I'd like to ask you, basically, what are the three main benefits of a business, small or large, in hair, barbering, spas, wellness, beauty salons, nails? What is the true benefit of engaging in PR?
I think probably the first and the most important one is visibility.
Right.
Because it's very important, especially in these days and pre and post COVID, to be seen and to be seen for what you stand for. I think that's probably the most important.
The most important. So it's visibility. And I guess now would be are there any other reasons why someone should get involved in PR?
I think there's many reasons, and at different times of their business, these reasons are probably more pertinent. You know, it could be for a startup business, the visibility is important, but also it's the connecting with their potential clients in their local area. So it could be something that's very localized to them, that is, you know, that's a real kind of specialist thing to do. Or you've got the people that want to build up their profile because as part of their business plan, they want to go from zero to hero in X amount of time, but they need to have, it's almost like a 360 approach to how they do this. So that's really important.
That's fantastic. So I hear visibility, absolutely. I get that point completely. So if it's a small business and it's opening, you're actually saying that PR should go in almost at that time or even before opening the doors?
I would say so. If a salon can factor this into their business plan and what they want to do, right, I would say definitely before, in the run up to the opening of the salon, because it can gain so much awareness for them.
Superb. Well, a point to remember. Lauren, is there anything you want to add? Because I'm after the main benefits of engaging with PR, whether they do it themselves, whether they do it via an agency such as yours. What is so important about public relations?
I think personally for myself, working with clients in the hairdressing industry, one of the most important facts is visibility with Alison, but also the relationship building with people in your local area. So for salons especially, you know, you need to connect with those in your local region, but also out with, you need to reach that extra market that you might not have even thought about at first.
Right. So can you give me an example? I really want to understand this for the audience. when you say reach a particular market that you haven't thought of,
Yeah.
so if a salon's profile is, let's say they're attracting sort of 25 to 60-year-olds,
Yeah.
are you saying that they can actually go after a different audience just with PR?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Superb.
I think it's more about, communicating the services that you offer, but also showing, that one size doesn't fit all. We're here, we welcome everyone, we've got services to suit everyone, and it's about communicating with those markets and saying, we're open, we're here.
So then I have to ask, are you guys, can you put up or make up that content for the business by speaking to them about it?
Absolutely.
I mean, how would someone know? Because I wouldn't particularly know how to go after a new audience. Is that the benefit of being with a PR agency?
I think hugely, yeah. I mean, we've spoke with many clients who, they've got their set market that they would like to target, and they just haven't thought about an extra market, and it brings so much more revenue to the business and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's something that is very much applicable to everyone.
I love that answer, because I've got to tell you, I think a lot of people will actually stop and think, because, right now people go after a niche market and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that after COVID, there are going to be job losses out there.
Hugely.
Yeah. Absolutely. And where businesses are impacted, perhaps they do need to consider PR. How wonderful. That's great news. So if I come to you, Kelly, I know Alison's covered visibility, and I know that Lauren's gone after a new market. Is there a particular third benefit that you think they have maybe not stressed enough, or do you agree with them on that?
I agree with both answers, but I feel branding for your salon is making that the most out of your branding as you possibly can. And in terms of branding, from your logo and your website and your marketing materials, but also thinking about you and your salon team. You are your brand too. So making sure that you and your team are all aware of your own values and your salon's mission is extremely important. And you have to sort of let clients know that too. You don't want your logo to look completely different on different materials and things like that. So I think it's really important to work with a PR in terms of making sure that everything is all sort of covered and all
tied in.
Tied in, exactly.
Consistency. I think consistency is really, really important.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I have only lately come to social media. To say that I loathe it would not be strong enough word. But I would say that that's the one thing COVID has forced my hand at. And the hardest part about this and dealing with social media is consistency.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, because I almost feel like I run out of things to say. And of course, being someone that doesn't want to actually say something when it's not necessary, because that's in my nature inherently, I think that's where hairdressers might hit their stumbling block, is that maybe you can do a couple of posts, but then after that, what?
Yeah.
That's when you hit your stumbling block, I think. So I've got it. I think that's fantastic. So then let's talk about what Kelly has brought up here, and I'll open this up to all three of you. So what are all the areas? Now, Kelly's touched on logo, and she's talked about, all your printed materials, etc. But what sort of aspects? I hope you guys have a list there for me, because I want to know, and I want to inform my audience, what are all the aspects to consider? So who wants a stab at it first? Shall I go to the founder of the business, Alison?
Yeah, I'll start. I think this is a really interesting question, because I've been doing PR for quite a long time. And when I first started, it was all about relationships, but it was all traditional PR, sending out press releases. And, that was it, following them through, getting product placement or your client placed somewhere. Correct. And, tick, job done. Now, and we recently kind of did a bit of a rebranding job on ourselves earlier this year, and underneath our logo we put brand architects,
right,
because we felt that it wasn't PR, It wasn't just social media. It wasn't just, as Kelly was saying, brand design or event coordination or, you know, all of these things. It was a whole load of different things. So you can go from social media, you can go from traditional PR to, you know, branding and design. So getting that look for the salon or the business. People like to put on events.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a great way of engaging with new clients and immersing yourself in your local area.
So could I just stop in amongst you? Who specializes in events?
I probably do, and well, actually, all three of us do.
Probably all, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyone want to give me an example of an event that a small business could hold?
Well, you've done a few, Kelly, with different clients, haven't you? Like,
so Kelly, could you explain what that means?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, as we were talking about earlier, if you were a new salon launching to your local area,
Sure.
That's a really great time to put on an event to help launch the salon, you know, get yourself immersed into your community, invite your clients along, whether they're new clients or you've maybe met them at a previous salon or where you worked beforehand. Even inviting all of your local press, I think, is extremely important, because then...
So sorry, I'm so sorry, I have to ask this. At what stage would you get involved? So let's say I run a small business and I want to put on an event to launch it. Would you hold my hand through the process? Is that what an agency does?
Yeah, I mean, we generally say working with each other probably around 4 to 6 weeks before your specified launch date, so that we can sort of figure out a guest list and help you get yourself sorted with whether it would be working with a local cake or bakery company to put on bespoke cakes, you know, little like added benefits like that, which are going to sort of boost your salon and make people happy when they come along, and even just sort of helping with guest lists, goodie bags, organising press, ensuring that we've got the right press to be there, so that when they do come along, that you are getting seen and getting noticed and into the right hands of the right people.
Superb. Thank you so much, Kelly. So returning back, that list, so you've covered up to events. Are there other aspects in your sort of list of things that you guys should consider when it comes to PR?
Sure, there's digital marketing. There's some salons like to create their own photographic work, and we can get involved with that as little or as much as they need us to, you know, from sourcing the photographer, the makeup artist, the clothes stylist, helping with model castings. Lauren does this all the time. So there's these kind of things. I think
I didn't know you got involved in that level of minutia. How supportive is that? Then, you know, there's something I didn't know. So I mean, what we've
tried to do with brand architects and fallen under this banner is that people can cherry pick what services they want, because I think that's something that often puts people off about PR, is that, you know, it's I can't afford it, oh, it's only for the big salons, or it's only for the big groups, or oh my goodness, you know, I don't really know what I want. But we can do everything from sort of hand holding them, taking them through finding it is exactly what they want to achieve, to you know, if they want to do business awards, we can help them with that. If they want to do hairdressing or beauty awards, again, help with that. You know, everything really, from startups to someone that's maybe feeling a little stale and they want to, right, okay, I need to be seen. How can I be seen? How can I be visible, get my brand philosophy over to the greatest number of people?
Superb. So, you've said that Lauren does some of this. Lauren, can I ask, is there a specific little example that you can give us? Because this is a real revelation that they can almost cherry pick what they want. You're offering the smorgasbord of help, which is lovely, and they can actually come in and cherry. And so it can then become affordable.
Yes, absolutely.
So fantastic. Lauren, give us an example of that, please.
Yeah, so I work with a variety of clients from, you know, the single salons right up to salon groups. And everything that we do is bespoke to you as a client. That's the way we work. We're always bespoke. So it can be anything from, you know, if someone says, I need help with the model casting, not a problem. I've done model castings for years, so I can sort that all out from you from the get-go. You know, like Alison said, we source the whole team for the day, we source the models, but we can also do a variety of different things as well. You know, if they just want a press release sent out about maybe they've finalised for an award, we can make something of that. It does not have to be expensive. It's completely bespoke. We do little projects up to full, you know, retainer clients. So yeah, it's bespoke to the person.
God, that sounds pretty exciting to me. Are there any other topics that you wanted to cover, or I can move along?
Yeah, I think that's...
Yes, it's a good starting. Certainly, we've given people food for thought. So here's one question that I have, and I'll start with Kelly here. If someone's doing their own PR, could you tell me the top 3 mistakes a salon owner or a spa owner makes that you spot all the time and you think, oh, please stop doing this, or you're spending so much time doing your PR and you're not getting your message across? What could those 3 things be, please?
So one of the most important ones is not understanding the news value. So actually finding out if your story is actually newsworthy. You might think it is personally as the salon and where you work, but actually looking at it, find a pitch and make sure that you're going to the right market, to the right person, and not just to a general news outlet. And is it actually something that people want to read and want to know about, is the first thing. The second thing I would probably say would be over-editing. So make sure you're getting to the point, get to the point and move on, and don't waffle on and have a big long press release because the journalist is going to get bored. So
music to my ears.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure it's short and easy to read and understand. And then the last thing I would probably say would be to do your research. So if you're going to pitch, especially to a specific story to a specific journalist, make sure you have researched maybe previous things that the journalist has already written, to ensure that maybe there hasn't been a cover story that has been already sort of put out there, and just to make sure you are going to the right person.
Superb. Again, I mean, just things that would not occur to a salon owner instantly. Any examples? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think as well, it's much easier for us to talk about the person or the brand and say, you know, this is the most fabulous salon in town or whatever. But if the hairdresser does that, it can come over a bit bullish or
boasty.
Yeah, exactly.
How wonderful. Because that's, I found in the past, the hardest thing to write about is yourself.
Is yourself.
100%.
Enough impossible. I couldn't even write a work profile. I had to get someone to interview me because I just couldn't write about it. And but I get it completely. See, that's stuff that I know salon owners and business owners in our industry will actually understand why they need to perhaps engage bits of their PR out, even if they can't afford all of it.
All of it, yeah.
So, Alison, you've already covered at what stages a business, I mean, you've talked about the startup phase, you've talked about if you're feeling a bit stale and you want your name out there again. Are there any other critical times that a business should engage PR? Are there critical times?
On expansion, you know, if a business is expanding, that's really important to let people know why. Perhaps even they've taken on some new team members, and you know, to elevate the profile, new services. You know, everyone wants to be the first. Are you the first person in your area with this particular service or treatment or whatever? Let people know about it, you know, and it goes back to what Kelly was saying about, you know, having a good story. We often get people come to us and say, oh, I've got this, or we're a really good salon, we want some PR. But, you know, what are your USPs? What are you doing that no one else in your area is doing? What makes you different? What style of hairdressing do you have that's different? Or beauty, what especially for beauty. You know, there's the whole gamut of beauty services.
Certainly.
What makes what you do that little bit different?
So what are you specializing in, really? What are you exceptionally good at and better than everyone else in your locality?
I think what we're good at is actually understanding.
Oh, sorry, I meant salons.
Oh, salons, sorry.
Yes, no, but what you're trying to highlight is absolutely right, because when a beauty salon does all the treatments that the next door beauty salon does, or a mile up the road, basically it has to be that they've got a point of difference. And it's that is it. And it doesn't have to be necessarily a wow thing. It's just maybe they look after their customers a little bit better in their service. And I get what you're saying. And are you saying that PR companies can highlight that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the relationship that the client has with the PR company is so important. You know, communication is vital to making any relationship successful, but you know, exceptionally important here. And if you haven't got that kind of spark, and that you can speak to the person about, and you know, just relate to them, understand what they're trying to achieve, not be afraid to ask them questions, then it's not going to work.
Got it.
You know, we often have conversations with people and, you know, say, well, what have you been up to, or what's happening, or what's new? Oh, nothing. And then you've got to drill a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, you know. So
that's the value. That's the value. Got it. Okay. So I was going to touch on the subject of cost, because I think sometimes we think it's prohibitive and that it's just too much for me to afford just now. I'm trying to keep costs down, etc. So I guess PR is not something you can see return on investment in actual numbers. So
with some exercises you can.
Fantastic. I mean, give me an example of some exercises.
Someone said, okay, our client numbers are down. So we really want to do a client gaining exercise. We want to, you know, widen our outlook, look at different areas, like Lauren was saying about, you know, our main demographic is the 25 to 60, but let's look at that slightly younger one. What can we do to attract them? The 16-year-olds, maybe their first visit to a proper salon, or they're getting ready for prom or graduation or something like that. That can be a huge market.
And you will actually see return on investment there, because that's quantifiable.
Yes,
fantastic.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the great old saying, you know, what you can measure, you can manage, is very, very true.
I love it. Love it. Ladies, do you have anything else to add to that there?
No, I think Alison's covered all that. Yeah, she's got all the points in.
So I'd like to ask now, let's start with Lauren here. Lots of people talk about content on social media, right?
Yes.
So could you explain what content means first and foremost? What does content mean in terms of a salon?
So content in terms of social media is basically your everything that you put out there. That is content. So it can be anything from your text, it can be services, it can be images, videos, you know, GIFs, boomerangs. There's a whole list of what content is, and we've got a saying in the office that content is king. So you need content for social media. It's just a must.
And it's also something that people have to care about. Otherwise, it's just gibberish, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. You want to make sure that the content that you're putting out there is representing your brand, representing you and your team, salons, spa, whatever industry you're in, and that it shows your personality. You don't want to put out something that's not you at all. You know, it's not your image, it's not your personality. You want it to be the truth, essentially.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to ask someone about, I guess Alison's covered it, but Alison, what is the word brand mean? What does that mean?
I think brand is your philosophy, your ethos, and your image. It's all encapsulated into one.
Got
And something that, you know, gets bandied about frequently these days, oh, brand this or brand that or whatever. And it is really important. And sort of going back a step to what Lauren was saying, I think a way of being able to get your brand out very quickly and easily is social media.
Got it.
But you look at some people's social media and you think, yeah, this is a brand, because it's got the strong identity, the copy is all written in the same way, the images have the same look, it's got a great feel to it.
But how does that help your business? Just having something that looks slicker, how does that help a business?
I think it allows people to understand what the business is about.
Okay.
So and this is a thing that people do quite a lot at the moment, or have been doing, all the backs of heads and long hair. Bit of a pet hate of ours, but you know, but they believe, and rightly or wrongly, because there is no right or wrong, that they're showcasing their work.
Right.
I, as a customer or consumer looking for a new salon, stumble across this and look, and I think that's all they do.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, you know, they only do hair down to here, brightly coloured and waved. And that's all they do.
So they really do have to showcase all aspects of what they do, and regularly. So their feed is just not full of the backs of long hair.
Backs of long hair. I mean, the buzzword in social media at the moment is storytelling.
Correct.
You have to use your grid to tell the story of your brand.
Got it.
And I would say probably these days, social media can be more important than your website.
Yeah, I was just about to say that there, Alison.
So Kelly, the point you're trying to make here is?
I think clients tend to go now to social media to actually see what the salon's doing and, you know, their different services that they're offering, rather than actually going straight to their website first. So I think that's really important.
Would that apply across the board to everyone? Would that apply to beauty?
Absolutely.
Would it be worth a beauty salon almost doing what to stand out? What would their content have to have? Because it's easy in hair. We've got so many options to demonstrate.
I think with beauty, they've got a great opportunity to tell the story of their brand, their services, their team. You know, when you look at those three elements, you could create a great grid. The one tip that I would give everyone that's really considering doing, you know, looking at their social media is to create a calendar and plan their social media. You know, don't just think, oh, it's Tuesday, I better put a post up today.
Got it.
You know, think about how it looks. Think about what messages you want to get out.
How far in advance should that plan be?
We probably work between 2 weeks to a month. And it depends on the client, really.
Yeah. And also it keeps it current, because, you know, news out there.
Definitely.
So dramatic.
Oh, God, yeah.
And
absolutely.
when I mean news, I actually mean if Kim Kardashian's had a French cut.
Exactly. Or she has a new treatment, or,
Right, okay. So I had a couple of questions to ask. This one's a sort of a toughie for me, because you've answered how you can help, how a PR firm can help, I guess, accelerate a company's success. I've got that. I've got it. I've gleaned it from everything you've said. The thing that I think most salons are struggling with, our industry will struggle with going ahead in the future. And I would say probably the most important question of this conversation is that what sort of tips would you give salon owners, firstly, about attracting Generation Z into our businesses as customers? What are the top tips there? I'd like to start, if I may, with Lauren this time.
Yeah, of course.
Lauren, if a salon's trying to attract younger people as customers, what are the mistakes we can't afford to make now?
I think honestly, it's looking at a one size fits all. That is a massive mistake that many salons, beauty salons, barbershops make. They put everything out there content wise, going back to that, as this content suits everyone, and that is just not the case. You know, you have to tailor your content to the specific markets, essentially.
So
People
could
look for different
sorry,
things.
I have to ask, could it be different messages from the same business targeted to, fantastic.
Absolutely. As long as you keep your personality flowing through and keep the sort of the brand ethos through it, that's not a problem.
Superb. Okay, does anyone want to pitch in on that one? Is there something else that
I would think that you what Lauren's saying there is basically speak to them in a language that they understand.
Yeah.
And I think use mediums that they relate to. So video is very big for that generation. And also, you know, tapping into things like TikTok that they're on as well. You know, you can use that, use it on the stories so that you can, you know, the younger generations will gravitate towards things that interest them. So keep it varied and keep it interesting.
Yeah, agreed. You know, 3 weeks ago, before I got onto social media, I would have asked you what TikTok was and whether it was a grandfather clock in someone's house. But you know, now I know what it is. So proof of the pudding is that you can learn about this very quickly. And so I'll end with this, and I don't know who wants to jump in on this. So what should we do as an industry to make, take our message to Gen Z about considering us as a career? And in your case, I'd be talking about a local business wanting to attract young people, Gen Z, to come into employment with them. What are the types of things? How would the message go there?
I think that you would probably have to use different resources to get different messages out. Social media definitely is probably the top one there, but I think connecting with people as much as possible, whether you do school visits, you know, going back to kind of almost how we used to do. Sometimes the old ways are not always the bad ways. You know, school visits, college visits, that kind of thing. And
then back it up with the right social media messages.
Absolutely. Yes.
So it has to be in combination. It has to be in combination with
there's no kind of silver bullet. I think you've got to work with a lot of things.
Yes, what can I say? I mean, ladies, I definitely know more than when I started this conversation. And is there anything else you'd like to say about PR that you think is vital? Because other than that, I would have to just thank you for your time and your knowledge, because I can't tell you enough times how this information needs to filter out there. There's still masses of businesses that are sort of almost dipping their toes into social media in a sort of haphazard manner. I think this might give them a little bit of a path to follow. And for that reason, from my audience, and which is worldwide now, so I can't thank you enough for doing this, but do you want a last word on PR and brand architecture? That's your specialty.
No, I mean, I think we're always happy to speak to anyone. You know, a conversation doesn't cost anything. You know, and you can say to people, you know, if they're nervous about, we can give them hints and help them. If they want a more in-depth conversation, we can do that as well. You know, and I think sometimes people are nervous to ask, or they won't want to work with me because I'm this, or we're not in the same area as them. But you know, the world is a very small place these days. You know,
you're up in Edinburgh.
I think don't be afraid. Planning and preparation is everything. And you know, please feel free to get in touch with us, and if you have any questions, we're very happy to answer them.
Wow, thank you so much. So thank you, Alison, thank you, Lauren, and thank you so much, Kelly, for your time this morning, and I think it'll be invaluable for everyone watching. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll get to see every conversation with every expert.